Hi guys, this is AQA Beliefs. Today we will be going through religion and social class. I've done two other videos for point A and point B, so feel free to check them out. So, how does social class influence levels of religiosity? Well, the working class are more likely to have belief about belonging. So, in terms of social class, patterns of belief and religious practice run in opposite directions. So, Bruce found that even though the middle classes are less likely to believe in God than the working classes, the middle classes are more likely to practice their religion and be more involved with church. This view is also supported by the results of Law's study in 2009, who, in a social class survey of religion in the UK, found lifelong believers in God came disproportionately from lower social class groups. Moreover, a study by Verus 2014 on Church of England attendance found rural churches to have much higher attendance than urban churches. And as the middle classes are dominant in rural areas, these findings would seem to support the class patterns of earlier studies. However, we should note that there is evidence of increased church attendance in deprived inner city areas, and this is basically because these areas have high numbers of ethnic minorities who have a deeper religious faith than the majority white population. There is a social class divide in membership on the main Christian churches in the UK. Participation in the Church of England has tended to be dominated by the middle class community. And members of the Anglican Church are more likely to vote Conservative. That was an example. The Church of England has always had a close relationship with the state, with the Queen being head of the church and the Prime Minister helping to choose key bishops. And one reason for this pattern of behaviour in different social classes is the relationship between religious participation and social status. And it's the idea that people participate in religion because they see it as a desirable social characteristic. So they see it as being respectable and decent in the community. And this can be important when parents have children in church schools or wish to enrol their children in high-performing church schools. And the Roman Catholic Church in Britain does the opposite. It attracts greater working class participation, and working class Catholicism has its roots in Irish working class immigration into the UK, and a study by Ahern in 1987 found working class people are generally distrustful of the Church of England because they saw it as being too hierarchical and too closely tied to the establishment. Although the Roman Catholic Church has suffered from large falls in attendance at services in recent years, in some areas this church has been given a boost by Polish and Southern European immigration. Ahern also noted how the working class in the past were also attracted to denominations such as the Methodist Church and its preaching of social justice and equality of worship in the early 20th century. Close links existed between the Methodist Church and the early Labour Party and trade union movement. And today this church is dominated by members from the skilled working class and lower middle class. The middle class are more likely to join cults and New Age movements. So the class composition of New Age cults is overwhelmingly middle class, and cults appeal far more to middle class women. This is because these middle class women can afford the cost of participating in New Age activities, and cults offer women the possibility of empowerment. And this is important as these women are often denied power in patriarchal society. And Bruce argues that New Age movements appeal to the middle class because their material and financial needs have been satisfied, but they feel there may be more to life than material possessions and money. Whereas working class mothers have issues related to family life and poverty and can't afford the time or money to pursue abstract interests. And he lists said that this further maintains that New Age cults appeal specifically to the university-educated middle classes working in expressive professions. So social workers, counsellors, actors, writers, artists, etc. And therefore, for reasons of expense, time, education, and the desire for self-improvement, new members of New Age cults tend to be middle classes. So, membership of sects is divided according to social class. So, one of these groups is the marginalized lower social classes, and sects tend to attract an either or class membership. So this means they're either mainly middle class or they're mainly working class. And the main reason for this is because sects tend to focus their attention and activity more specifically on areas of concern for individuals. So, for example, when the social group is marginalized by being denied status and rewards in society, they may be attracted to a sect because it not only offers an explanation for their marginality, but also like opportunities for future achievement. And Wilson found young Black Americans were attracted to Islamic sects in the 1960s as they offered an explanation for their social exclusion and a means for radical organization. Weber found sects are more likely to emerge amongst the poor, and such groups may develop a theodicy of disprivilege, which is a religious set of ideas which explains why they are in the position that they're in. So an example would be if a group believes that they're God's chosen people, the promise of salvation is compensation for their poverty. So in part, the growth of sects such as the Nation of Islam in the USA in the 1960s and from sects such as ISIS today is accomplished through recruitment from disadvantaged Black groups. And these Black Muslims come from the working class for two main reasons. One reason is because the sect leadership is largely antagonistic to the white ruling class. And a second reason is because middle-class Muslims have done reasonably well from the economic system and are consequently less likely to be attracted to sects that are critical of the economic and political structure. And sects like the Nation of Islam and ISIS offer members divine compensation for their low social status and provide a way for the economically deprived and politically marginalized to cope with their disadvantage. So, another group is the affluent middle-class youth. And Robert Bellah argues that the increase in sect membership seen in the late 1960s in the USA was also due to middle-class youth experiencing a crisis of meaning in regard to the materialistic values of their parents' culture. So, despite their privileged middle-class culture, this group became disillusioned with the material world of capitalism and were attracted to sects offering a counterculture. Many turned to sects which rejected materialistic values and promoted involvement with drugs, radical politics, and communal living. And these sects were based on anti-materialistic and free love values such as the Children of God and Eastern influence sects such as the Hare Krishna and the Moonies recruited in large numbers from young middle-class people in search of spiritual or psychic goals. And this finding is reinforced by the study that Barker did on the Moonies, who basically found that they attracted the younger middle classes. One reason for it might be the fact that the Moonies' philosophy involves vows of poverty, and the middle classes who have experienced a comfortable lifestyle tend to be more willing to renounce it rather than the working classes who have never experienced such a lifestyle. And so we can evaluate this by saying that the wide variety of different sects tend to make it difficult to talk with any degree of certainty about the overall class composition of sects. And we can also say that, like as a general AO3 for social class, that there is little in-depth research that's been conducted on social class and religion. and religions in the UK don't collect data about the social class composition of their members. However, from the data that does exist, it's more apparent that the middle classes are the most religiously active in society. And whilst the white working class may have been involved with the Roman Catholic Church and denominations in the past, they may have little involvement with religious practice today. Now, this doesn't mean that they subscribe to atheist ideas. You know, like the socially deprived area of Knowsley is also the most religious area of England and Wales, with over 80% declaring themselves to be Christian in the 2011 census. The working class are apathetic or uninterested in religion because it offers no meaningful contribution to their daily life. So hopefully that helped. My next video will be about age groups in religion, and then we will be done with the belief section. So thanks for watching.